The mountains did not fall to Spain. They resisted. In 1568, Fort San Juan burned. Spanish soldiers stationed deep in the Blue Ridge were killed. And the inland empire Spain imagined collapsed in smoke. But the question isn't just why the fort fell. The question is who made it fall. This is Echoes of the Blue Ridge. I'm Ryan Phillips. In the previous episode, we followed Juan Pardo into the interior of what is now North Carolina. He established Fort San Juan at the indigenous town of Warra. Spain believed it had secured alliances. But alliances in the mountains were not simple. One of Pardo's officers, Hernando Moyano, pushed further, and he pushed harder. Spanish records describe Moyano leading expeditions against mountain groups referred to as the Chisca. The Chisca are often treated as a minor footnote, a name in a document, but they were not minor. Spanish accounts describe them as formidable, independent, mountain-dwelling, difficult to subdue. Moyano attacked Chisca towns. Villages were burned, leaders were killed, food stores taken. Whatever fragile diplomacy existed between the Spanish and inland societies fractured. Within a year, coordinated resistance erupted. The forts burned. Spain withdrew. Now, here's where history becomes more interesting. The identity of the Chisca is still debated. Some scholars associate them with Yuchi-speaking groups. Others place them among broader interior chiefdom networks. But what's clear is this: they were not simply peripheral bands. They appear in records across a wide swath of the southern Appalachians, and they disappear from Spanish records after the uprising. Some historians treat that disappearance as absorption, but there is another possibility. The mountains have long preserved stories of people who were here before the Cherokee consolidation, distinct groups who later blended into emerging tribal identities. It is possible, and I stress possible, that the Chisca were one of the earlier mountain societies who resisted Spanish incursion and were later absorbed into the shifting cultural landscape of the southern Appalachians. History rarely erases a people entirely. It transforms them. We must be careful not to romanticize. The records are sparse. The archaeology is incomplete. But what we do know is that the inland Spanish collapse was not random violence. It was coordinated, strategic, and effective. The Chisca were not a myth. They were real enough to burn forts. When you stand on a ridge overlooking Burke County or follow a trail along the Upper Catawba, you are moving through terrain once defended by people whose names most textbooks no longer mention. Not because they vanished, but because history simplifies. The mountains do not. They hold layers. And sometimes, if you look closely enough, you can see where one identity becomes another. Next time, we will take a careful step into legend, into accounts written generations later, into stories of pale mountain dwellers, of fortifications settlers could not explain, of the so-called moon-eyed people. We will separate record from rumor and examine what survives between them. Until then, listen carefully. The echoes are still here.